today we will discuss on the basic rocket science, means how a rocket can can achieve the particular altitude, how can all the system of the rocket is how the whole the system of rocket is working, what are the different principle is used, how can we make our rocket more stable, which kind of propulsion system is used or will use in the future. So we will discuss each and everything in this webinar. So let's start. And as I say that if you have any questions, then write into comment box, and maybe you can also save that particular questions in your mind, and after that we you can ask in the question answer session. Right. So as I said that if you are familiar with the Hindi, so I can also speak the Hindi, or maybe English is also applicable, like Hindi plus English. So please be responsive. Which language are you prefer?
Sir, could you please explain only in English if possible?
Okay. 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 So don't worry about that. Like English, maybe in the English. Okay. Okay. Sure. Sure. So I will try to give the 90% of webinar in the English, and after, if possible, then if any hard term or very difficult term is there, then I will explain in the Hindi. Right. So don't worry about that. I will cover each and every topics with the Hindi or English. Right. So let's start with the rocket science, and you all know that means many people are saying that it is not rocket science, right? Because rocket science, many people's perception is that rocket science is more difficult, but it is not a right thing. Rocket science is too easy, but we have to understand by the fundamental level. Like if you are not understand the fundamental level, then it must be difficult for you, right? So rocket science is a not more the rocket science, because yeah, now we crack the rocket science, how a rocket is work, how it will be launched, what kind of condition we have to apply on the rocket. And after this webinar, like after after the 3 or 4 session of that webinar, like today is only one session, but after some times we also cover the another topic. So you will able to design your own rockets, or you can also launch your rocket by your own self, right? So we will discuss each and every point, but today we are not briefly discussed, because each and every topic can cover by the 1 and 1.5 hour, right? So I will try my best to so please say them, like I sent 2 links, so please joining by the another link. Right. Recent one link, like only I shared that link before the 20 or 30 minutes. Okay. Just just wait for the 2 to 3 minutes, and after we will start. Right. So please. So first of all, to start the rocket science, like we must have to look into the history, like how. Okay, that's amazing. Right. So we must have to look into the history, like how it is built in the past, and how it is built by this in the future, or maybe in the present, right? Because in the, if I talk about the past time, they are only used for the destroyed the nation. Like if any the first rocket is launched by the China, right? So there are the many people who said that, like first rocket is not launched by the China, but it is launched by the India, and firstly launched by the Tipu Sultan, right? Yeah, they are not correct. They are not incorrect, but they are also correct. So first of all, we are using the rocket to destroy the nation. Like it is a one types of flying bomb, right? So we are fill the fuel and oxidizer, or we can say the gunpowder or barud, right? And we ignite them, and it will be sent to the another nation to destroy the nation, to destroy the civilization, right? So in the past time, we are using that particular rockets to destroy the nation. But now the era is changed. Now we launch the rocket. Now we launch the satellites to betterment of this society, right? So now we are started from the destroy the nation, and now we are working for the betterment of the society. So it is, a trend is completely changed, right? First of all, by launching the rockets or by launching the bombs, it's very harmful for the people who are living in the particular area, right? and now we are launching the satellites, or now we send the astronauts to the ISS or for the interplanetary mission for the betterment of the society, right? So we must have to look into this. Like, I'm not getting bored to you. Like, I'm not go very detailed in the history, but we must have to look into that, like how it is work, how it is work in the past, and how it is work in the future, or maybe in the present, right? So if as being the aeronautics student means you all are aeronautics students, so you also know the betterment of the, you also know the development of the aircraft, right? So first aircraft was fly by the Wright brothers, but it is also not correct, because in the India, Sivkar Bapuji Talpade also fly the aircraft, if I'm not wrong, right? Because one movie is also making by the Ayushman Khurana on the Sivkar Bapuji Talpade biography, right? So if I talk about the Wright brothers, then at the earlier stage of the aircraft, you can see that they are using the very basic parts, like they are using the only one motor, or very less RPM motor, and they are using the wooden structure. And after that advancement in the aircraft, and now we can fly, or now we can travel from the one city to another city by sitting in the business class, right? So we must have to look into that, like how it is work in the past and how it is work in the future as well as the present, right? So this is the history, like a history. First of all, the rocket is first used by the China in the year of the 12,000 for the fireworks by the gunpowder. Means, as I say, that to destroy the nation, and they are just fire the bomb, and they are thrown into the other country or another nation or another particular area. And after that, the World War Two is starting, like 1918. So World War One and World War Two is the, we can say that it is a space war. Why it is called the space war? Because in that World War One and World War Two, Germany and Russia and maybe USA launching the many missiles to destroy the nation. Like, so, missile and rocket having a very similar concept, very similar design also, right? But both the application are different. As I said, that missile is used for the destroyed the nation, and rocket is used for the betterment of the society for now. But if I talk about the past, then it may be different, right? So Cold War in the military means World War Two. First we use the liquid and solid propellant rocket and liquid propellant rocket. But yeah, I will discuss that, like what is called the solid rocket or what is called the liquid propellant rocket in the bit later in this webinar. And so second point is that a rocket is used for the bomb for the other country. So as I said that to want to destroy the nation, we are sent or we are fired the crackers, like so. It is very similar to this, but now because in the earlier stage, a rocket having a not too much technology, there is a not too much parts. So they are building such very simple rocket. They are filling with the barud, or we can say that the gunpowder, and after that they will launch the rocket, right? And Cold War is the space war. Why it is called the Cold War is a space war? Because from the Cold War, I can say that in the World War Two, there are the numerous missiles are launched or launched to the another country or another nation to destroy the particular area. And after that, the legendary persons like Robert Goddard and the von Braun are born, and they are changing the application of the rocket, right? So the first rocket designed by the, I can say that the Russia is the Saturn V, and the designer is the von Braun, and the first liquid propellant engine is also designed by the Robert Goddard, right? So so Cold War is a space war. That means from this war we learn something, like we can do such kind of thing for the betterment of the society. And after that, Russia launched the first satellite. Its name is the Sputnik, right? So now Russia is also launched the many missiles to other country to destroy the nation. Now they transfer the application, and after that they have launched the satellite for the remote sensing, or they have the various purposes, right? So this is the history of the rocket. Means at the first time we are using the rocket to destroy the nation, and after that we are using the rocket for the betterment, or maybe to grow the particular area, to grow our human civilization, right? So now we discussed that, like as you know that your history part is clear, right? I'm also not interested in the history, so that's why now we discuss that which kind of principle is used on the rocket. Like what are the principle is used in the rocket? So first of all, which principle is used in the rocket? As per your answer, which principle is used in the rocket? So please write it into the comment box. And if you are free, then you can also unmute yourself and you can also speak. So which principle is used in the rocket? There are the two options. There are the two options, like third law or second law. Which principle is used? Hello, please respond. Please respond. Fast, fast, fast. All of the above, yeah. Third law, yes.
Third law.
Okay. Third law. For propulsion, it's third law. Okay, it's not correct. Maybe. Yeah, third law. Okay, 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 okay. So no one is right and no one is wrong. Right. So as I say that Newton, yeah, that means rocket using the Newton's second law is only third law. But most ofly, majorly, second law is applied. How? So I will give the basic information about that, like not a basic, but it's very detailed information. And after that, I will also discuss third law, means how it is act or how it is apply on the rocket. So first of all, start with the Newton's second law. So anyone knows that what Newton's second law suggests? What Newton's second law suggests? Please write it in the comment box. Mass of the rocket, not correct. Yes. First of all, fast, fast, fast. What suggests the Newton's second law? Yeah, I know the third law. Every action is an equal and opposite reaction. But what's about the second law? Change in momentum
Rate
divided with time equals to force. Okay,
rate
right.
of change of momentum.
Okay. Any other people? Okay.
Acceleration of an object is directly proportional to
Okay, momentum by time. Okay. So Newton's second law says that conservation of momentum in the linear direction. Right. Yeah, no doubt. Every book's having its own, uh, we can say that, own definition. Right. So conservation of momentum in the linear direction. This law is suggested by the Newton, and it is also called the Newton's second law. Right. So now we divide this each and every term, and after that we will decide decide that like which term suggests a particular meaning. Right. So conservation of momentum. So first of all, what is the momentum in case of the rocket? So momentum, that means mass into velocity, right? So we can easily define by the P is equal to mv. So mass flowed into velocity is called the momentum. So how it is applicable in the rocket? Okay. So mass into velocity, that means a rocket engine which burns some fuel and oxidizer into the combustion chamber. So fuel and oxidizer having some mass, right? And after ignition in the combustion chamber, it's throwing the hot gases through the atmosphere. By using the nozzle, they are throwing the hot gases to the atmosphere. And the hot gases, or we can say that exhaust gas, is having some velocity, right? So mass flow rate, that means we supply the fuel and oxidizer with some mass flow rate. I can say that 2 kg per second, 3 kg per second, right? Because in the rocket, the mass flow rate of the air, fuel and oxidizer is very large, right? Because we have to develop that much amount of power or that much amount of force, right? So when we ignite a fuel and oxidizer into the combustion chamber with some mass flow rate, and after ignition, it's accelerated by the nozzle, and it's exhausted into the atmosphere. So when our hot gas is exhausted in the atmosphere, it's having some velocity. So mass flow rate of the fuel and oxidizer, in simple term, I can say that the propellant mass flow rate into velocity, it's give the thrust. Right. So conservation of momentum in the linear direction means if our rocket throwing hot gases in the right direction, then our rocket proceeding in the left direction. So this is the Newton's second law. Right. So many of you say that rocket using the Newton third law. Yeah, you are also not correct. You are also not incorrect. You are also correct. Right. So now I give the idea like how Newton third law is applied, but its effect is very small, so we can also neglect. But in the actual condition, we must not have to neglect that term, right? So I hope you clear that Newton's second law, how it is applied, means mass flood of the air and oxidizer, means propellant and propellant, that means fuel and oxidizer, which is combusted into the combustion chamber, and after that it's accelerated by the nozzle, and it's exhausted the hot gas into the atmosphere. So by using that, it's produced some momentum, and this momentum is helpful to increasing the altitude, or maybe gaining altitude in the atmosphere, right? So now, how a Newton third law is applied? So Newton third law says every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? So now you clear that the what is the second law. So in the second law, the hot gases is coming outside from the nozzle, and it's also having some velocity, and it's also having some pressure. So first of all, we can consider that our atmospheric pressure is the 1 bar, right? Normal atmospheric pressure is the 1 bar, and after adding the exhaust gases into the atmosphere, means when we add the hot gas into the atmosphere, it will increase the pressure by suppose 1.2 bar, right? So initial condition is that our atmospheric pressure is the one bar, and after add the hot gases, because hot gases is exhausted in the atmosphere, so it increase the pressure by, let's say, zero point 0.2 bar. That means now total pressure is the 1.2 bar, right? So there is a one law in the universe. They said every substance in the universe remains it's in a minimum condition, right? So our in the initial condition, our atmospheric pressure is the 1 bar, and the final condition, our pressure is a 1.2 bar. So we increase the pressure by the zero point 0.2 bar by doing this activity, like we burning the fuel and oxidizer into the combustion chamber, and after that it's accelerated through the nozzle, and it's also editing the zero point 0.2 bar of pressure into total atmosphere, right? So now atmosphere try to regain its original position, because zero point 0.2 bar of pressure, that means atmosphere having some energy, right? So energy in terms of the force, in terms of the any kind of energy. So now our pressure is increased by the 1.2 bar. So our atmosphere try to regain its original position. That means 1.2 bar to 1 bar, because its normal temperature or pressure is the 1 bar, right? So how it can be diminish the pressure, because there is a zero point 0.2 bar of pressure is excess, right? So we must have to diminish that pressure. So this pressure is acted on the rocket body, means to diminish the pressure, they must have to travel some distance, and they must have to transfer that pressure into the another object, and the nearby area, like in the launch pad, your rocket is the nearest area of the engine. So this pressure is acted on the upward direction. So that's why it's called that every action is a equal and opposite reaction. That means action, that means we are adding the pressure in the uh, right direction. So our reaction, that means excess pressure is also acted in the left direction. But all the pressure are not acted on the rocket body, but they are also acted on the another part of the atmosphere. So if anyone say that like which principle is used in the rocket, then first of all, rocket using the second law, and in the very minor condition, rocket using the Newton third law. So now the force equation, like if you find the total force which is developed by the rocket engine, so force is equal to second law plus third law. So second law, that means mass flow into velocity, plus PE minus PA. That means how much delta is how much delta is present, like how much pressure is increment into particular area. So now the total force equation is that the force is equal to second law or third law. Third law, that means pressure increment in the particular area plus conservation of momentum. So now I play one video in that your idea gets more clear. And yeah, our webinar is proceeding in the such a way that first I explain each and everything, and after that I will play also one video. Yeah, you can see the video.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, see, so in that video, you can see that carbon dioxide is throwing in the backward direction. So now our trolley is forward. is is gaining some distance in the particular left direction, right? So they using the Newton's second law as well as his third law, right? So yeah, so this is the basic principle. Means same principle is used in the rocket because now you imagine that at the at the point of the carbon dioxide cylinder, we use the rocket engine. So our rocket engine is expelled the hot gas in the particular left direction, then our rocket proceeding in the right direction. But if our rocket is the 90-degree straight, then if our rocket engine throws the hot gas in the downward direction, then our rocket proceeding in the hot direction, means in the upward direction, right? So now you know that like which principle is used in the rocket, like Newton third law, Newton second law, and now we will discuss that like how can we make our rocket more stable, right? Because see, you all are fire the Diwali wala rocket, right? And maybe sometimes your rockets is goes into the neighbor houses, right? So yeah, I want to ask one question. When you fire the Diwali wala rocket, like a very simple rocket, then what's your observation? Please give me the answer. Yeah. मीन्स आप जब दिवाली वाला रॉकेट को फायर करते हो, फ्लाई करते हो, तो आपका ऑब्जर्वेशन क्या होता है? Rocket never goes red. Okay, okay, yeah.
So
So
sometimes it goes straight, and we can say that not stable.
okay, okay, okay. It's always unstable. It's unbalanced, right? It's not stable. Yeah. So yeah. So I can say that 90% cases to our rocket is goes in the any direction. Like it is not desired direction. If we launch our rocket in 90 degrees, then only one or two rockets goes in the perfect straight direction, right? So it the Diwali rocket is not more stable. So how can we make our rocket more stable? See, in the Diwali case, our rocket size is too small. But if I talk about the PSLV, right, which is launched by the ISRO, right, PSLV, GSLV, or Falcon 9, which is launched by the SpaceX, and if this type of rocket is goes into particular direction, like uneven direction, then what happens? Maybe they can destroy the particular area, right? It is also harmful for the people who are living in the particular area, right? So we must have to, as being a rocketeer or as being the space enthusiast, you must have to know that how can we make our rocket more stable. And for that, we have to understand first two terms, and that is the CG and CP. So I hope that you all are the aeronautical students, so you know the basic information about the CG and CP, right? So CG, that means center of gravity, and CP, that means center of pressure, right? So CG, which is depends on the mass of the rocket, because I am talking about the rocket, and CP, that means atmospheric pressure, which is acted on the rocket body, like a surface area of the rocket. So I can say that the atmospheric pressure, how atmospheric pressure will act on our rocket, it's it depends on the CP, right? So hope you got the idea about what is a CG and CP. Then CG is depends on the mass of the rocket, and CP is depends on the pressure which is acted on the rocket, right? So now, how can we find the CG and CP value in the rocket? So first of all, in the slides you can see that there is a one formula. So you can also find the one reference line, right? So reference line. So first of all, I just read that formula. So CP into A. CP, that means the coefficient of the pressure. CP into A, that means area. Why we consider the area? Because when you launch the rocket, all the atmospheric pressure which is acted on the rocket body. So I can say that the surface area of the rocket. So this is the total area of the rocket, means including the area of the nose cone, including the area of the body tube, including the area of the fins, right? So it is the total area is equal to distance from the reference line to the nose cone into area of the nose cone, because we are talking about the center of pressure, right? So the area of the nose cone into distance from the reference line to the nose cone. You can also draw the reference line towards the nose cone. There is no any rules to only uh, draw the reference line to the fin side, but you can also draw the reference line to the nose cone, right? Plus, the distance from the reference to the body tube into area of the body tube plus many parts like which if you are using the if you are using the multiple fins, then you can also add that weight as well as the area, right? So after that you can find the, if you divide the whole equation by the total area, then you can find the CP value. So it is very so CG, the equation of the CG is very similar to the CP, right? So how can you find the CG of the any rocket? So how can you find the CG of the any rocket? So it is a very similar to the CP. So as I said, the CG is depends on the mass of the rocket. So in that equation, we consider the area. So we have to put the mass of the rocket. So CG into mass of the rocket. That means mass of the uh, total rocket is equal to distance from the reference side to the mass of the body tube plus distance from the reference side to the body tube into mass of the make it mass of the body tube plus fins, right? So we can find out the value, and it's very easy. So yeah, there are the many software you can use to find the CG and CP, and yeah, we are also deliver one webinar on that, like how can you design your rocket, how can you find the CG and CP, and how can you add the different types of parts in the rocket, right? So we will deliver the webinar on that also, and so we will also disclose that we are not disclose the information right now, but in the future, means after the 1 or 2 week, we will surely do the webinar on the how to design your rocket and which kind of software you can use to find out the different quantities like a CG and CP, right? So now you know that which two terms, that means CG and CP, means CG depends on the mass of the rocket and CP depends on the pressure. Yeah, we can use the open rocket simulator, sure. So how can we check that, I mean, which condition is better for our rocket? So there are the three different condition is there. So CG less than CP, CG and CP is equal to, means CG and CP both are acting at the same point, CG greater than CP, right? So what it suggests, and now we check each and every condition one by one, and after we decided that, like which condition is best for our rocket and which condition is gives the better stability of the rocket, right? So CG and CP, like a CG less than CP, means CP is the greater side. So suppose this is my rocket, I forgot the rocket at left, so that's why I using this bottle. So suppose this is the nose cone of the rocket, and here we attach the engine, right? So as per the first condition, CG less than CP. That means CP is lies as the above side. I can say that the nose cone, this is the nose cone. So CG is lies ahead of the nose cone, right? And CG lies something like that, like at the bottom side, right? So at the first condition, our CG, suppose that this is CG is, lies in the this top side, and our CP lies in the forward direction, and CG lies in the backward direction, right? So as I said that CP is the center of pressure which is acted on the rocket body. So now we check our first condition, right? So CG, that means it is a mass of the rocket. So I hold this bottle with my two finger and I consider that this is my CG point. And now I apply the forces. Like a pressure is the one types of force, right? So if I apply the forces, like let's say I apply the forces, right? So this is, you can say that, you can see that, right? So if our CG point is the below side, right? If our CG point is the below side, then our rocket is not stable because any kind of small kind of disturbance, because I only apply the very little amount of forces. You can see that, right? So our rocket is not stable, right? So if our CG point is the below side, then our rocket is not stable because in the atmosphere there are the various types of pressure is generated, various types of force is acted, like a pressure force. Maybe sometimes it's a high wind is there, right? So high wind also acted on the rocket. So if we make our rocket such that our CG point is the below side and our CP point is the above side, then it's not a stable and it may be not achieve the particular altitude, right? So first condition is not preferable for our rocket. So now the second condition, CG and CP both are at the same point. So I'm not saying that it is acted on the center part, but it maybe lies in the above side or maybe lies in the below side. So I consider that it is a perfectly lies in the center part. So now this is my CG point and this is my CG as well as the CP. So if I apply some forces in terms of the pressure, then what's happened, right? I am applying some forces. See, this looks like a gimbal, right? So if you apply the forces, then your rocket proceeding in the circular direction, right? Because CG and CP both are acted on the same point, right? If I talk about this condition, right? So if I see this is the better effect, right? So your rocket proceeding in the circular direction, right? And it is also not good thing because after that the vibration is created and maybe sometime it is also leads to the structural damage. Now, last but not least, the third condition, and that is a CG greater than CP. Right. So now it is a very similar to the first condition, but we change our point. Our CG point is the above side and CP is the below side. Right. So now this is my point. This is my rocket. This is the nose cone, and here I attach the engine. So if I hold this bottle with my two finger and I consider that this is my CG point, right? And if I apply the forces in terms of the pressure, then what's happened? See, right? So if I apply the forces, then it's regain its original position. See, you can see that, right? I apply the forces. If I apply the larger forces, then it will be regain its original position. So this is the perfect condition for us, right? Means any kind of disruption takes place, it is not affected to the rocket body, and it is very preferable for our case, right? So how can we achieve this condition? Like a CG as the above side and CP as the below side, right? So if I talk about the rocket, so most of the satellite or most of the payload or most of the rovers is attached on the above side of the rocket, right? So in the nose cone, you can say that when they open the nose cone fairing, so in that they are attached in satellite. Why? To maintain the CG point is the above side, right? So what's about the CP? Means how can we place our CP point as the below side? So we have to attach the fins, right? If we attach the fins, that means indirectly we increasing the area. So as I said, the center of if we increasing the area of the rocket, then more pressure is acted on the particular area, and our CP point is the lies behind is the CG, right? So third condition is the best condition. So for that, uh, to apply this condition in our rocket, we have to attach some mass. So if I talk about the model rocket, right, because you are not building that much amount of big rocket, so that we can attach the satellite or rovers or maybe cabin crew at the particular height. So if I talk about the model rocket, then you can also add some mass in the nose cone. Means your nose cone is heavier than your fins, right? And you attach the fins at the below side. Okay. Hmm. So so this is the CG and CP. Now in the video you can see that like I play one video in that there are the two paper plane. One is the red color, and other was the green color. So they attach the paper clip in the red color paper clip. They add the paper clip at the below side. That means they add the extra mass to the below side, and in the green color paper plane they attach the paper clip at the forward direction. So now you just see the video, and after that decide that which condition is better and which paper plane is doing the better performance. So please start the video.
Constructed these paper aeroplanes. Now, the aeroplanes are identical except for the location of the paperclip. On the red aeroplane, the paperclip is at the back, whereas on the green aeroplane, the paperclip is in the middle. So if you could all check that whichever colour you have, you've positioned the paperclip in the correct place. Okay, what we're going to do now is the thing that you've always wanted to do, which is to throw paper aeroplanes at the lecturer. So, I'm going to be the target. Your job is to hit me. Now, I'm going to give you a piece of advice that might make it a bit easier. When you throw a paper aeroplane, it doesn't fly horizontally, of course. It descends under gravity. So it's no good throwing them directly at me. What you need to do is to aim above my head. And I suggest you aim for the top of the white screen. And then the aeroplane should descend and reach me. Now, what we're going to do is, first of all, just throw the red darts. So just all the green darts stand down. I'm going to give you a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. When I say, I want everybody with a red dart to try to hit me. Okay, are you ready? Red darts. Okay, three, two, one, go. Okay, oh, that's cheating. Okay, let's see what happens now if we throw the green dart. So everybody the green dart, get ready. Okay, three, two, one, go.
Yeah, so now your idea gets more clear. Like in that paper plane, they attach one paper clip. In the green paper plane, they are in the above side, means in the forward direction, and in the red paper plane, they attach the paper clip at the backward side. Right, so you see the difference between them. Like when they throw the red paper plane, they only cover the very few distance, like only 2 meter or 3 meter of distance. But they when they throw the green paper plane, then yeah, sure. So in that video, they are using the two different paper planes. One is the red color, and other was the green color. So in the red color plane, they attach the paper clip at the backward direction. That means they are adding mass at the backward side. So it is a very similar to the CG less than CP. That means that's CP point is the above side and CG point is the below side. And in the green paper plane, they are attached the paper clip at the forward direction. That means at the above direction, right? So it's very similar to the our point. And then third condition, that is if our CG greater than CP, then it's more stable, right? So now they are throwing the plane to the professor, right? So a red paper plane is only cover the few distance. Why? Because they are unstable. Because they are editing the extra mat at the below side, or we can say at the backward side, and in the green paper plane, we attach the extra mass to the forward direction, right? So the green paper plane is can achieve the, or we can say it can be cover the more distance. Why? Because they are the statically stable, right? So they are the stable aeroplane, and that's why they can achieve the more distance, right? So hope you all are clear now. So you all know now, you clear that which principle is used in the rocket. How can you make your rocket more stable? But now, once you launch your rocket, right? So if you see the any launches of the rocket, then when you see the launch, you can also find the how much altitude is gained by the rocket, how much speed is gained by the rocket, and at which speed they have to enter into the particular orbit, right? So how it is possible, right? So it is only possible by the avionics system or maybe onboard flight computer. So the avionics system is nothing but it is in that the transmitting and receiving antenna is there. That means onboard flight computer which sends the data to the ground, and the ground station displays the data to the our TV screen, right? So when you launch any rockets, means when you see any video of the launch, so you can find it like after 1 minute, how much altitude is gained by the rocket, how much velocity they have, and after which second they have to separate the side booster. So these all conditions or these all activities doing are automatic, right? Because they are the no any manual control. Means that they are switch, they press the switch, and then the side booster is separated from the rocket, right? So this whole system, which is under the avionics system, or maybe they are using the flight computer. So I will give the basic information about the flight computer. Means what is the flight computer, what is the avionics system, how it is work, how can we make the circuits for that, for the our model rocket as well as the high power rocket. So avionics system is the heart of the rocket. Why? Because at the particular height you have to give the signal to the rocket, right? Because rocket doesn't know that at which path they have to follow, it have to follow, right? Because if you launch your satellite into low earth orbit, then you must have to follow some perfect trajectory, you must have to follow some perfect azimuth angle, right? So this all the signals is given by the flight computer, right? So flight computer is nothing but it is a one type of computing devices in that we can print the code, means programming, and after that, as per our requirement, we can use that. Like, see, if we launch rocket, high power rocket, and we have to collect the data of the atmosphere, right? Means if we launch the sounding rocket, and you want that like at 1 kilometer of height, I want the data of the pressure, temperature, density, or any other, right? So you have to attach that sensor. Like if you want to measure the pressure at the particular height, then you have to attach the pressure sensor. If you want to measure the humidity at the particular height, then you also add the humidity sensor, right? So this is a flight computer, nothing but it is the automatic devices, means we have to program it, and after that, as per our programming, they will act, right? So how it is work like avionics system. So if I give the example of the real launch, like so when our rocket launch and after some second a side booster is separated from the rocket body, right? So how it is happened, because there is no any manual control. This all are doing by the onboard flight computer, right? So onboard flight computer, that means a computer which is attached to the rocket, right? So it is called the onboard flight computer. So after some second, like we are doing some kind of programming work in the flight computer. Like we said that after 100 seconds, our side booster is must be separated from the rocket. So when our rocket is in a launch pad, so we start our avionics system or we start our flight computer, and after the 100 seconds, onboard flight computer gives the signals to the side booster. That means now you have to remove from the rocket, right? And then it is it is an automatic system. That's why it is separated from the rocket body, right? So this is the this I can say that like if you want to doing any automatic work like transmitting and receiving the data of the atmosphere, like pressure, temperature, density, then you can add the sensor, and after that you can make the data, right? So you can see the circuit, and this circuit is used for the parachute ejection system. So the parachute ejection system I will explain with the bit later, right? So what are the different sensor we can use? So if you want to build your rocket, then what are the different sensor you can use? So first of all, Arduino. So I speak that like what is the flight computer? Flight computer is an Arduino. So we can use the Arduino Uno and Nano. So in that you can find that I use the Arduino Uno. Sorry, it's Nano, right? It's a BMP sensor which will be helpful to measure the pressure of the atmosphere, accelerometer, gyroscopic instrument, angle deflection sensor, and SD card mounting. And SD card mounting is used for the saves the data, right? Because if you are not using the Bluetooth module, then we have to use the SD card mounting, because we have to get the data of the particular height, because we can't fly at the particular height, so we have to launch our rocket, and after that it collects the data and it saves into the SD card, and after that once our rocket is recovered from the particular height, we remove the SD card from the rocket and we attach in our computer or maybe in the mobile, and we can get the data, right? So now see, when you launch our rocket, like there are the different PVC system is used, right? Because as I say that like not only the CGN CP gives the more stability, but to betterment of the stability, we must have to use the PVC system. So first of all, how can we make PVC system? Means PVC, that means thrust vectoring control system. That means how can we vector our thrust? Right, so see, this is our rocket, this is our nose cone, and this is at this part we attach our engine, right? At this part we attach our engine. So see, if our rocket is launched in the perfect 90 degree, right? So suppose after launching, our rocket achieved 100 meter of height, but due to some wind pressure or gust pressure or some atmospheric pressure, it deflected side, like it deflected by the 10 degree or 5 degree, right, from the reference line. So first of all, how it correct the degree? Because see, we launch our rocket in the straight direction, but if due to some pressure disturbance, it deflect by some degree, right? And after that, it will proceed in this direction. But we never thought that like if our rocket is proceeding this cross direction, then what's happen? Because indirectly we must have to reach out that particular height, right? So if if I talk about the very real rocket, like very large rocket, then they have to uh, send a satellite or they have to launch the satellite into particular orbit, right? So if their rocket is going in the cross direction, then they never be achieve particular altitude, like a low Earth orbit, high Earth orbit, or geostationary or geosynchronous orbit, right? So for that, we must have to use the thrust vector controlling system. Yeah, no doubt, we can't. If you are making the model rocket, then if you are not using, then not a problem. But for the very large rocket, we must have to look at. Like if I talk about the Starship, right? So if anyone's watched the video of the Starship, then they use the very advanced level of the thrust vector control. So how it is work? Like see, our rocket is deflect by the 6 degree, right? So we must have to regain its original position. That means 90 degree, right? So how can we apply the forces? So our rocket engine is produce the forces, right? So if our rocket engine produce the forces, so if our rocket like this, and after that we have to correct by this angle, right? So after, so how can we do that? Like this is our this is our rocket. At this place, we attach the engine. So if we bend our engine, or if we deflect our engine in this direction, like in the left direction, then we can regain its original position. Like if our rocket is the right direction, it tilted in the right direction, then we have to deflect our engine in the right direction. So it's regain its original position, right? So now in this video you can see that like you observe two things: at which place the rocket is deflect, and meanwhile you also observe the flame of the rocket engine. So it's very clear, like if the rocket is slightly tilted in the left direction, then the rocket engine is also tilted in the left direction, right? So it's regain its original position. So please start the video. Okay, so are you observe something like if rocket is slightly tilted in the in the left direction, then the rocket engine is also tilted in the same direction to regain its original position, right? Yeah, its deflection is very minimum, right? If only 1 degree of deflection is there, 1 to 2 degree deflection, then it's also changes by the very large number of altitude or very large number of distance, right? So very large number of distance. So that's why this TVC system, like first of all, we have to calculate the deflection angle, right? So in that we can use the gyroscopic instrument. As I mentioned that like we can use the gyroscopic. Why it is gyroscopic? Gyroscopic instrument used to deflect the degree, like how much deflection is there? Like only 2 degree. So it's give the signal to the flight computer. That means if you are using the Arduino Uno Nano, so in that the gyroscopic instruments gives the signals to the flight computer, and after computing the data, the flight computer gives the signals to the rocket engine. That means if our so gyroscopic sensor sense that like if our rocket tilted by the 2 degree, so this 2 degree data is given to the flight computer, and flight computer computing the data, and after that it will be give the signal to the engine, and engine is tilted in the particular direction, right? So so that's and we are also working on this particular system like TVC system, and after 1 and 2 months we also build the system. So it's very useful to, or it is very helpful to understand you like how it is work and how it is actually work, right? So now you all know that which principle is used in the rocket, how it is used, how can you make your rocket more stable, what kind of problem we have to face, like if we are not achieving the TVC system, the large rocket, right? So how it is affect. But now we have to focus on the recovery system, right? So what is the recovery system first of all, right? So if I talk about the history part, right? So in the history, the space agency like Russia and USA only focusing on the launching of the rocket, like a launching of the satellite means number of satellite, means they are in the race. Means if Russia launches the two satellite, then after that USS launching the five satellite. Means they are the only in the race. Like who will the monster or who was the monster of particular market in the satellite market, right? So, but they are never focused on the reusability of a rocket. Right, means we have to reuse the rocket. Means reuse, that means we have to recover the rocket, and after that, after some maintenance work, we can also use that particular part. So in the early era, they are never focused because they have the too much funding. But now it is not possible to start any kind of company if you are not having any kind of very good recovery system technique, right? So recovery, why it is very advantageous for the any company, right? So how can we recover the rocket? What are the different technique for the recover the rocket? We also discussed that. Like first of all, we discussed why it is a most challenging system, because I mentioned that it is a most challenging system. But why? Right? Because once you launch a rocket at the 100 kilometer of height, and after that you have to recover that rocket, so it's very difficult because there, as I say that there is no any manual control. This is fully automated, and so at the 100 kilometer of altitude, you have to open your parachute, and after that it's a parachute helpful to increasing the drag, and it is landed on the land, right? So it's very difficult. So, so you can also see the side boost of the SpaceX, right? So they are using the propulsive method. Means they are throttling the engine, and after that they are hovering. Means they are producing the negative thrust, and they are landed on the moon. Sorry, they are landed on the particular area, particular desired or a desired place, right? So how it is most challenging system, because yeah, see, the SpaceX started in the 2002, and the first rocket landed at the 2016, right? So they are minimum spend the 14 years to build these types of recovery system, right? Because yeah, everyone can launch the rocket, but to recover the rocket, it's most difficult thing, right? So that's why the SpaceX spent too much time to build a rocket, means build a recovery system, and now you can see that they can launch the rocket in the per week, like a 3 to 4 launch per week, right? Because they have the very higher efficiency. No doubt, after spending the 12 years, they also failed in the first 5 to 6 booster, means booster landing. But after that, due to some continuous advancement in the technology, now they can successfully land their booster into particular area, particular ship, right? So how it is advantageous for us? So first of all, it's a cost effective, right? First of all, it's cost effective. Means you are not have to made one new rocket for the another launches. You can use this rocket for the another launches. So first of all, it's cost effective. It can be used by the multiple time, because see, SpaceX used the side booster the 3 to 4 or maybe 10 times, right? So for the 10 times they reduces the cost, because at the initial part you have to spend the money, but after that once your rocket is recovered, then you not have to spend the money for the new one. Like yeah, you have to spend money to refurbish. That means you have to attach, or you have to maintenance work. You have to do the maintenance work in the rocket, and after that you can fly. And first of all, and after that is a rapid launch, right? Because if you have the ready-made part, like you launch the rocket, after that you recover the rocket, and after the 2 or 3 days you uh, relaunch the particular rocket, right? So now, if I talk about the model rocket, then how can you uh, recover the rocket? Means we are mostly using the parachute ejection system. Like at the particular height, we release the parachute, and parachute is helpful to descend the velocity of the rocket, and it will be land on the particular area, right, in the launch site. So at which position we have to eject our parachute. This is the main and most challenging system, right? See, if you make your rocket such that it can be achieve the 1 kilometer of height, and after that it's due to the gravitation field of the earth, it tilted to the ground, right? If it is tilted to the ground, then at that point you have to recover your rocket. That means you have to eject the parachute. See, if you're not if you are not building a such kind of flight computer, like if you launch your rocket and the your rocket can achieve the 1 kilometer of height, but at the 500 meter your parachute is ejected, then what's happened? Our rocket is never achieved that much amount of height, right? So that's why we have to decide at which point, at which time our rocket will eject the parachute. So that's why we are using the circuit. Like in the earlier part, means in the avionics system, you find you see one circuit. So this the same circuit is used in the rocket, like to eject the parachute. So first of all, at which point we have to eject the parachute, I will discuss on that, and after that, I will give the idea like how can you eject your parachute, right? So first of all, in the video you can see that there is a you launch the rocket. So at the some after some time it is a power ascent. That means a continuous power you gain by your rocket engine, and after ignition of the each and particular motor, right? So it's in a coasting flight. Means after after ignition of the your engine, your rocket also having some momentum, right? So it's in a coasting phase, but due to the gravitational field of the earth it turns towards the ground. So now at that point you have to recover the rocket, means you have to eject your parachute, right? So a maximum distance is travel or maximum distance is achieved by the rocket is called the apogee point. So in the apogee point we can say that in our case our apogee point is the 1 kilometer, right? So after 1 kilometer we have to eject our parachute, and it will be successful in line, right? So for eject the parachute we have to use the different technique, because our parachute is in the our rocket body, right? Rocket body. So we have to create a pressure into rocket body, and after that, if once we create the pressure, it will transfer the pressure to the nose cone, and if our nose cone is dispatched from the rocket, then our parachute ejected, right? So in the video you can see that like how pressure will be generated in the rocket and how our parachute ejection takes place, right? So please see in the video. So yeah, see, see, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so you see that like in that we use the explosive, right? It's called the pyro ejection system. Pyro is nothing but we are using the gunpowder into the one casing, and we sent a signal by using the flight computer. And if pyro is blast, then it's increasing the pressure inside the chamber, and this pressure is transferred to the nose cone. So you also see a parachute is also ejected, right? Because we have to use that much amount of pyro charge, so that's why it can be generated that much amount of pressure. Right. So this is the pyro system. We also use the spring-based method. Like we use the spring, and after compress the spring, we can attach the parachute above the spring, and as per our requirement, we eject the parachute. That means when we press our spring, so it's stored the energy, and when we release the spring, the stored energy is transfer in the kinetic energy, and it will be helpful to eject the parachute. Right, but spring method is not so accurate, because when you launch your rocket, then after there are so much vibration takes place, and if the a large amount of vibration is there, then if your rocket if your spring is released, then your parachute ejection takes place. And as I say that if your rocket can be achieved the uh, 1 kilometer of height, and if our parachute ejection takes place at the particular height like 500 meter, then it is not beneficial for us, right? Because if I talk about the large rockets, then if they have to achieve the 300 kilometer, and the parachute ejection takes place at the 150 kilometer, then what's happened? We never launch our satellite at the particular height, right? Okay. So now you all know that how can we recover the rocket, how can we make a rocket more stable, and which principle is used in the rocket. But if you develop advanced system like advanced avionics system, advanced recovery system, but If you are not using the any kind of propulsion system, then your rocket will never be launched from the launch site. Right? It's never be launched from the launch site because propulsion system is the main system, right? Because we got the power from this system. So first of all, what is the meaning of the propulsion? Have you any idea? So please unmute yourself, or maybe you can write in the comment box. What do you mean by propulsion? Hello, hello. Anyone knows that? What do you mean by propulsion? Hello, are you there now? Okay, to propagate, no idea, no idea. Actually, okay, that's very great. Yeah. See, so fuel ejection, not true. So what do you mean by propulsion? So I give the uh, basic information about the propulsion. So propulsion is the Greek word, and in the Greek word, the propulsion meaning the propellery, propellery. So pro that means in the pro that means forward, and lurry that means pro that means forward, and lurry that means push. Right. So if I divide that word in the propellery, so pro that means forward direction, and lurry that means push. So push forward is the meaning of the propulsion. So if anyone asks that, like, what is the meaning of the propulsion, then you can say that the propulsion that means push forward, and it is a Greek word which is the propellery, right? So propellery then pro that means forward, and lurry that means push. So push forward, it's called the propulsion. Okay, so we can use the different types of propulsion system. Like what are the different types of propulsion system we can use? So we can use the solid propulsion, we can use the liquid propulsion, we can use the electric propulsion, we can use the nuclear propulsion. So as per our requirement, as per our budget, we can use that. Like if you use the solid propulsion, right? In the solid propulsion, we use the fuel and oxidizer in the solid phase. So that's why we can say that the fuel and oxidizer both are in the solid phase. So that's why it is called as the solid propulsion. Right? If we use the liquid as a fuel and oxidizer, then we can also say that it's a liquid propulsion. That's it, depending on the what kind of propellant you are using. Right. So this is the solid rocket motor, and we are also we are also making the solid rocket motor in our club. Right. So after some times we also see the video. We also play the video of the rocket motor testing. So yeah. So as I said, that solid propellant, that means fuel and oxidizer are in the solid phase. That means we have to fill up fuel and oxidizer. Oxidizer, that means oxidizing agent. So we can say that we are using the KNO3, sugar and sulfur. Right. So we are filled into the one casing like a PVC tube, and after that we make one hole. Right. Why we are making one hole? Because it's act as a nozzle. Right. So I can give the basic information about solid propulsion, how it is work in the another topic, because it will take the too much time, right? So we are already exceeding the time, right? So there are the different grain system. Like once you fill your rocket, once you fuel your fuel and oxidize into the one casing. So what are the different grain system is that? Grain, that means one types of slot which you provide into the rocket, means the body tube, right? So first grain system is that a co-burner. Co-burner, that means you make a throughout hole. You make a throughout hole, right, from your rocket motor, and you can also see the thrust versus time graph, right? So as per your requirement, you can make the grains. It is called the fuel grains. Fuel, that means we are pouring the fuel, and which kind of pattern we are using. So first call is the core burner. Second one is the concentric center burner. Third one is the star burner, and this star burner is used in the PSLV side booster, PSLV strap-on booster, right? Because it's having a stable thrust. See, in the thrust versus time graph, you can find out in the core burner. Initially, it's a lesser thrust, but after some time, it's increasing by the peak value. So fourth one is the plus burner. Fifth one is the tree burner. We can say the tree grain, and sixth one is the anchor. Right. So as per your requirement, you can use that. And yeah, in the upcoming webinar, I also give the basic information how you make your core burner, how you make the star burner, anchor burner, or plus burner. Right. So this is the information of the solid propulsion. Right. So so this is the testing of we are already made the motor. So please start video. Okay, so this is we are using the core burner. So and we are also using the KNO3, sugar and sulfur for making a fuel, means a fuel grain. And so this is the motor which is made by the Fly Sky Rocketry Club in our college. So if our college is start, means please pray to the God if our college is start, then we will surely make these types of motors, right? And yeah, so why we are not using the, sorry, right? So why we are not using the solid propulsion in the like a very big rockets, right? So if I talk about the Falcon 9, they are using the liquid propulsion. Means they are using the liquid fuel and oxidizer, and they are burns into the combustion chamber, and they are producing the thrust. Right? So why they are not using the solid? Because see, solid is not controllable. So if I talk about the Diwali wala rocket, means एक बार आपने उसको burn कर दिया, then you cannot control that, right? You can't control that. So this is the same thing which happen in the solid. Means once you ignite, you can't control. Means after that it is a depends on the god. I can say that, right? So same, there are the many disaster takes place when they you are using the solid propulsion. Like if I talk about the Columbia disaster, right? Means NASA Space Shuttle launch program. So there are the two disasters takes place, and in the one disaster due to the due to the problem in the solid rocket motor, problem with the solid rocket motor, we have to face fatality and we lost the seven astronauts, right? So yeah, that's why we are not using, and there are the different criteria to use the solid propulsion, like and why we are not using they because each and every system having a pros and cons. So we must have to we focus on the pros, right? So now that's why we found a problem. Like if we are using the solid propulsion, right? So it is very harmful for us. Right? If we are using the solid propulsion in our rocket, then it is not a problem. But if we are using the solid propulsion in the big rockets, then maybe sometimes due to the explode of the side booster, it will be affect our trajectory. It will be affect our budget also. That because we have to made rocket by each and every part. So that's why we are using the liquid propulsion. So in the liquid propulsion, we are using fuel and oxidizer in the liquid phase, right? And in the liquid propulsion, pressurizing system is plays an important role. Plays an important role. So why it is plays an important role? Because if you are not supply the fuel and oxidizer with a higher pressure, then it will be not produce that much amount of forces, right? So uh, fuel and oxidizer are in the liquid phase, and yeah, why we are not using the atmospheric air? I want to ask one question, like you already know, yeah, you are not asking the question, it is not a good thing, but not a problem, right? I mentioned that in the solid propulsion or liquid propulsion we are using the oxidizer, like in the solid phase or liquid phase. So in the atmosphere we already have the air, then why we can't use in the rocket? Anyone have the answer? Like we already have the, because yeah, in the aircraft we are using the atmospheric air, and why we are not using in the rocket? Anyone
Hello,
done? Hmm. Yes,
hello.
yes, yes, I can hear you. Please
Yeah,
continue.
but actually we use oxidizer because we need a high amounted and a pure supply of oxygen for combustion. And
Okay.
like if you try to use the scramjet technology in your rockets that utilize oxygen from the atmosphere, then many much impurities are included. And like
Okay.
when thinking of high-speed rockets that can fly or cruise at 7 kilometers per second, then I think things need to be made more calibrated.
Hmm. Yeah, it's right, correct, and yeah, the another answer, out of the earth there is a no atmosphere. Yeah, this is the right answer, right? Yeah. So as Rudra said that there are the many engines because yeah, new development of the it's called the Sabre engine. It is a combination of the liquid and air breathing engine. Sabre, that means synergetic air breathing rocket engine. So if you are free, means whenever you are getting free time, you just search the Sabre engine, Sabre. So they are using the air breathing as well as the non-air breathing engine. So why we are not using the atmospheric air? See, we have to achieve the particular amount of altitude, like a 200 or 300 kilometer of altitude. So our atmosphere is limited, like a 15 or 16 or I can say that 30 kilometer. For the 30 kilometer, we can get the atmospheric air. But what's about the other? Like, after the 30 kilometer, we never get the atmospheric air. And to learn the any ignition process, any combustion process, we must have to add the oxygen because oxygen without oxygen, no one combustion process takes place, right? So that's why we are using or we are carrying the fuel and oxidizer on board means with the rocket in the we are pouring in the fuel tank and we are using that, right? So as I say that pressurizing system is most important part because see there are the different cycles. So you can see the different cycle. There are the fuel is a orange color and oxygen is the uh, blue color, right? So and they are also using the turbo pump. So turbo pump is helpful to increasing the pressure. Like why we are increasing the pressure? So there are the very we can say very famous formula is that PV is equal to MRT. So if our V is increases, means if we supply the higher pressurized fuel and oxidizer, then our temperature of the combustion gases is increases. So temperature of the combustion gas increases. That means we are increasing the energy of the particular gases, right? And if we are increasing the energy, then it is directly affect to the thrust. It will increase the thrust, right? So that's why we are using the pressurizing system, right? I am not goes into very detail because it's much complex, but if you want to know like which kind of system, which kind of pressurizing system is used and how it is used, how it is worked, and what are the different system or these different component it will be used to pressurize the liquid, right? So in the liquid stage we can use the turbo pump. Turbo pump, that means turbine plus pump which is helpful to increasing the pressure of the fluid, and turbine, that means it is helpful to rotating the pump, right? So that's why we are using that, and there are the different types of propulsion system or different types of engine cycle is used. Right. So if you want to know very detailed, right, because as I say that each and every topic can cover by the 1 and 1.5 hours. Right. So if I cover each and every topic, then it maybe leads to 10 p.m. Right. So I am not doing that thing. Right. But in the future, like after the 1 or 2 weeks, when our exam is completed, after that we will surely start the another series of that, like what are the different types of the propulsion system is used, how can you make your own rocket, how can you design your own rocket, right? So and yeah, for one more most exciting thing is that after 3 Feb, we are trying to organize one webinar with the ISRO scientists and who are working in the ISRO for, and who are designing the re-entry of the particular vehicle, right? So if we are fixing the we are talk with the scientists continuously. If they are ready, then we will surely do the webinar. So now my turn is over, and now your turn is started. Throw your questions. आप मुझे मारो जो भी करो आपके क्वेश्चन थ्रो करो. Yeah. So you can write into the comment box as well as the you can also unmute yourself and you can ask any questions. Not a problem.